Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review. If you don't have much room for games in your house like me, then small box games are ideal. Of course, what one person considers a small box might be a medium-sized box for someone else, but I will go with what I consider small boxes, which is really small, and list 5 great small box games that will cover a wide range of tastes and experiences. They're listed in alphabetical order, so there's no favoritism here. The Blessed Dark. Nathan Meunier suddenly burst onto the board game scene out of nowhere and made an immediate hit with his first release, which he self-published. The Blessed Dark made his debut on Kickstarter, and even though it took a little while, it funded, and was a great success for Nathan, who went on to release more games that way. The Blessed Dark's theme has captured people's imagination, I think. A friend of mine felt so strongly about getting a copy that he had it shipped to a friend in the US, asking him to forward it to the UK. My friend has since gone on to back another game by Nathan, who has been able to ship his latest releases to the UK directly, opening up his reach further. I love The Blessed Dark because it's such a perfect mix of luck in the shape of dice rolling and luck mitigation in the shape of using blood tokens to adjust dice results, and by having a wide range of cards that require a wide range of dice results. It means that pretty much every dice roll is beneficial to you in some way. There's also a good amount of player interaction, allowing you to affect other players' card tableaus to benefit yourself, while allowing those people to protect themselves from your attacks as well. I mentioned blood tokens. These are wonderfully red plastic cubes which will remind you of Pandemic. Players are cultists who collect blood for their spells, hoping to raise the Ancient One and becoming the favourite. The theme is dark, which the illustrations beautifully emphasize, but it's not too gruesome. The components are really high quality, and yes, this is a mint-in game, which is the perfect form factor for a small box game. It's such a nice feeling to be able to carry this game in your pocket and have it with you at all times, even though there may be little opportunity at the moment. I think this game is a great gateway game towards basically dice placement. I'd say read my review to find out more, link in the description below. But if you like medium weight dice placement games, then The Blessed Dark will be for you. Deep Sea Adventure. It's the only game in this lineup that doesn't come in a tin, but it's definitely a small box. Deep Sea Adventure by Oink Games is a push your luck game with a twist. Rather than just pushing your own luck, your decisions affect all players. You roll 2 3-sided dice. Well, they're actually 6-sided, but the numbers go from 1 to 3, with each number appearing twice, and move down a line of treasure. The further you go, the more valuable the treasure becomes. You have to decide whether you want to push further to get the most precious treasure, or prefer to pick up less valuable treasure, but stay close to the submarine you all start from. The problem is, the more treasure you and your other players pick up, the faster the shared oxygen tank runs out of air. And if there's no air left, you die, unless you've made it back to safety in time. It's a game that is really easy to teach and learn, and really quick to play too. Yet what makes it interesting is how everyone decides to play. Some will decide to head for the valuable treasure, but if others go for a lot of small treasures instead, the oxygen just won't last. You simply can't make it all the way if other players are greedy. So you have to try and gauge what the other players will do, so you can decide how you will proceed. It's a huge amount of fun, and chances are that you will all die in your first game. After that, everyone will adjust their strategy, which will create new challenges to which everyone will adapt again, changing the gameplay further. It's really great to see how different players go about getting the most points, and every game is different from play to play and from player group to player group. Check out my fresh review of the game and then get yourself a copy. It's really cheap to buy, comes in a small box, doesn't need a huge amount of table space, and is just a lot of fun. Ideal for people who are new to the hobby, want a little bit of luck, but also control their and everyone else's destinies. Microbrew. Here's a 2-player only mint-in game, which straight away limits who you can play the game with. However, this standard sized tin by One Free Elephant holds a lot of gameplay, nearly an hour's worth. That's amazing in itself. There are also a lot of components in the game, many of them tiny, but the tin is really literally filled to the brim. That's also amazing. In Microbrew, you're playing the role of an artisan brewery, trying to make the best beer. It's basically a worker placement game, but the real interesting part in the game is the mash tun. It's a mix of different ingredients that you need to manipulate so that they're all in the correct order to brew the perfect beer that your customers want, and that will make them loyal customers who come back for more. It's a relatively complex game, so aimed at more experienced board game enthusiasts, but that's what makes it so much fun. You can really sink your teeth into this game, trying to solve the puzzle of the mash tun, which changes throughout the game and creates a variety that makes this game so very replayable. It doesn't need a lot of table space, but it's probably best played at home. It wouldn't quite work in a restaurant, but it might be alright in a pub, which would also be very thematic, of course. Yet for now we'll have to be satisfied with playing this game at home, of course. Check out my review of Microbrew to find out more, link in the description below, but I do really recommend it for players who want a slightly beefier game experience. Tin Mini Skulduggery. Let me start by saying that all games in the Tin series by subQuark are great fun, and it always amazes me how much fun you can find in a tiny tin. It also amazes me how much love and attention Kate and David put into each and every one of their games. He is a wonderful design duo who are also a small publisher and who source all materials as locally and sustainably as possible. Add a personal touch to every copy of their games with manually embossing the tins and adding stickers by hand, as well as signing the tins again by hand, then assemble everything and ship each order from their home. If you buy a game from subQuark, you know your money goes to a wonderful couple of people. Anyway, let's get to the game itself. The reason why I chose Tin Mini Skulduggery out of the publisher's catalogue is that for me, it's the most fun and the easiest to teach and learn. You also get a huge amount of components in this tiny tin. 16 white stone skulls, 8 black stone skulls, 4 crystal skulls, 1 custom metal coin and 3 6-sided mini dice. The tin is full to the brim. The game itself is all about rolling your dice well, which means there's a huge amount of luck involved. That makes the game great for a wide range of people, as there is really no need for strategic thinking or planning. You just roll your dice, collect your skulls and hope to get 15 skulls exactly to win. There are a few additional things to consider, but the rules are really simple and easy to learn, making the game even more suitable for more people. The tin is also tiny. The game itself needs little room on the table and it doesn't take long to play, so Tin Mini Skulduggery can easily be played in virtually any situation. It is a lot of fun as everyone hopes that your dice roll doesn't go well. I really recommend you try this game for yourself, or check out my review of it on the blog, again, link in the description below. Mintworks. The guys at 524 Labs are known for their more strategic series of Tin games. I think Mintworks is probably the most famous, but there are many more on the lineup and more are being released on Kickstarter at the moment. In fact, their games are so popular that Mintworks was unavailable for a long time until it was finally reprinted. If you like worker placement games, then Mintworks is definitely for you. It's also a great introduction to the mechanism and easy enough to teach to someone who is not familiar with modern board games. After all, there are only so many options on your turn that it's rarely overwhelming, and often it's really clear what you have to do, making your decision really easy. Yet, there's enough strategy there to keep the more experienced board game enthusiast happy too. The component quality of all of 524 Labs games is great. Mintworks comes with a deck of cards that fit perfectly into the standard sized mint tin and a huge batch of wooden mints, which are basically the currency in the game, as well as a first player marker. It doesn't sound like much, but it creates a huge amount of gameplay and variety to keep you playing the game many times. It does require a fair bit of table space though, so it's probably best suited for playing at home. So if you want something a little more strategic but not too heavy, then Mintworks is for you. Check out my review for more details, again, link in the description below. Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast is made possible by the generous help from my Patreon supporters: Royal Patron Sean Newman, the UK half of Gamelot, Castle Guard David Miller of subQuark Publishing, Dice Masters James Naylor, publisher of Magnate First City, and Paul Grogan of Gaming Rules, and shining light Robin Kay of Rune Sky Games, Sarah Reed of Resourceful Games, Tim Vernig, and Richard Simpson of We're Not Wizards.